Ladies, have you ever wondered what it would be like to have everything you ever wanted and you really wondered about how you could get it? Well, what if I told you that all you need is love? Welcome to the Rebel Tribe, where empowerment meets attitude and sass meets savvy. Today, our guest is Joie Gharrity, author of Being Your Own Superstar: How to Expand Your Love Capacity. And she's going to share with us all the steps you need to take to get that love and use it to get everything you want in life. So Joie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I so appreciate it. Yes, my second book.
So I have to ask, did you, since both of your books, I've read them both, and both of them talk about being a superstar, did you channel your inner superstar when you were writing these books, or did you just naturally, are you just naturally that good? Are you a natural superstar, or did it?
No, it's work for me because most of my career is making everyone else a star, right? So in Hollywood, it was making other people stars. Um, and then it was downloaded to me that big part of my purpose and my life lesson is to stand in the spotlight. And so every single day I do, I call it in my second book, The Love Capacity, a daily habit system to help me to step out of the shadows and into my own spotlight.
Both of your books are fabulous, and I love the fact that they are both geared to help women do exactly that, stand in their spotlight. What inspired you to become the guru of creating other superstars?
Well, one, it's in my chart. I don't know if people believe in charts or not, but it's literally in my chart that I have a big part of my life purpose is I can identify stars and then I can help people become a star. But I feel so strongly that women entrepreneurs no longer, we don't want to pull a seat up to the table. We should actually own the table. And that's how I feel. And the number one way of doing that is to grow your own influence.
So how do we do that exactly? Because I know exactly what you're talking about. There's so many women now that want that. One of my favorite sayings is that I know exactly what I bring to the table. So, trust me, I'm not afraid to eat alone if need be.
Yeah.
But so many women don't get that. Whenever I post that, I get a lot of blank looks and question marks about what exactly do you mean by that? What exactly do you mean by that? What do women what are women so afraid of that they're afraid to step up and own the table?
Well, I mean, I think the number one thing that the fear factor is just people talking poorly about you, right? I mean, we are brought up to be there's a series of books out there called The Good Girls Code by Joy Balma. And that was very enlightening for me when I read her books, is that there is a good girl's code. And being a good girl means that you don't outshine, you don't outdo, right? You stay in your lane, and not just your lane, but you stay in a box in essence. And also too, being talked poorly about doesn't feel good, right? We've all had it happen to us, right? Growing up, and particularly, you probably felt that from other women gossiping about you or talking poorly about you doesn't feel good. Okay. And so I would say that that's one reason. The other reason for me was I just didn't know how. I wasn't sure what the formula was for me to just really step into my spotlight until it was downloaded to me. I would have been watching superstars do it for years, and I wasn't necessarily connecting the dots. I was just part of a system, part of the process, and I would watch them you know, receive extraordinary presents for their birthdays, for instance, or these huge deals with big, big paychecks that are attached to them. And I, for years, sister, thought that they were born with what we refer to in the marketplace with the it factor. I thought they were born with something special. And I bought into that philosophy big time, big time. I remember walking in LA, I was working for the studios and walking home one day and thinking, oh, I hope my next lifetime I'm bored with that special something, right? As I'm walking down Hollywood Boulevard with all the stars, the stars are embedded in the sidewalk. And I really, honest to God, thought that that was the truth. And then something extraordinary happened for me, bad and good, is something in my personal life really shook me to my core. And it helped me to start identifying and looking at my inner game in my life differently. I realized that life was really is short, that that is truth, right? And so I set on out on my own heroine's journey and started finding out my own truths. And one of them is that we are all born with an it factor. It's just some people can own it and get back to it sooner than others, for whatever reason. And but because of life situations, I got farther and farther away from mine. And once I was able to identify that, then I was like, oh, then I just need to own my it factor and know it to be my truth.
And you say in the book that this is all based on expanding your love capacity. So what exactly is that? What is love capacity? Uh,
Yeah, so growing up, there was never one time that anyone could have told me that success had anything to do with love. I thought love only had to do with personal romantic relationships growing up. That's the only place I ever thought love had anything to do with anything. However, when I was downloaded my second book, and the real reason I worked in Hollywood was that love is just comes in different forms. Love is success or money or opportunities. It's just that the superstars that I was observing, they just have a capacity for it that's Grand Canyon level. They've grown their capacity to be able to allow, accept, and receive love in these different forms, Grand Canyon level, right? But the average person, the average everyday person, right? I wasn't connecting the dots at all. And when I did connect the dots, I'm like, oh, so I just need to grow my capacity to allow, receive, and accept love. And that's just in different forms and grow it Grand Canyon level. And then quit wishing and hoping, right? Opportunities come to people that at their level of their capacity. And when I downloaded this, these downloads that came to me that I share in my second book, I realized that my capacity was low. It was very low. And so all I needed to do is just grow that. It doesn't take a special gift or talent. It's just, and then I was downloaded a daily habit system. So I want to say to everyone out there, your inner game is the biggest game in town, hands down. People that have Grand Canyon level of allowing, receiving, accepting, they also have a huge inner game capacity. And that's the secret sauce, right? So love is just money in different forms. Love is just business deal in different forms. Love is just opportunities in different forms. That's all it is.
so is this similar to like self-love? When we talk about self-love and love capacity, are they kind of the same thing? Or
I was very careful not to use the word self-love in my second book, Being Your Own Superstar, How to Grow Your Love Capacity, because I felt like that was confusing me for years, right? They're like, well, just love yourself more. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. How do I do that? Okay. I want to do that, but I didn't know how to do it, right? There's a difference. And so ultimately, sure, as my capacity, as I'm growing my capacity, I'm being very strategic about growing my capacity because frankly, I want more. And what I want everyone out there to know is that the divine wants you to have more. The divine wants you to have more. That is why they download, that is why they plopped me in Hollywood for 20 plus years, right? To not knowing that this was going to be part of the purpose to bring this secret sauce to the masses. They're like, they know, they can hear, people are praying and hoping and wishing, I want this, I want that, I want a mansion, I want $1 million, I want a Mercedes, and they're like, they want you to have all that, right? And so I wanted to separate my book from self-love, because I feel like I was picked because I was a different kind of billboard. Like, I'm not super, I've never been a person that hugs people a lot. I've never thought that love had anything to do with my success. I thought it was about drive and grinding myself into the ground my whole life, right? And instead, what I want to say is that I want you out there, listeners, I want you to identify what you want, and then I want you to put that to the side. And now all I want you to do is I want you to grow your capacity to allow, receive, and accept that. And how I do it through my daily habit system. And you can too. But you can do it through any way that makes you feel comfortable, right? But as you're growing that capacity, that's a strategy. This is strategic. This isn't like, oh, I hope. No, this is a strategy, right? And that strategy is, I'm very clear about what I want. I put that to the side. I'm like, wow, my capacity has to be 3 times bigger for that to fall in. And then I just work on growing my capacity to allow, receive, and accept it. And I do that through prayer, through listening to music, through working out, through meditation. I do that through journaling, through, I do this through a whole set of inner game components, because I know that I want to get to Grand Canyon level, because then everything actually just falls in, and you don't have to wish or hope anymore.
So, so what do you think is the biggest misconception, I guess, people have about expanding their love capacity? Because, like I said, when I first saw your book, I was like, well, this is all about self-love. This is another book about self-love. Okay. And then when I read it, it was like, oh, no, it's not. Okay.
Yeah, I think the biggest misconception is that you can dream about something, hope about it, vision board it. I mean, I was that girl that was looking for the formula like crazy. Like, I did everything from DNA reconstruction to retreats to you name it. Okay. I was doing it, right? Because I was just like, well, I've been I have it on my vision board. Why is this not working? I would get to a certain level and then I would hit that glass ceiling. I'm like, what? Why? Why? And I was asking why a whole lot, right? And what I want to say is that I was going in the back door. Okay. I'm not saying to quit vision boarding, but what I am saying is, if on your vision board, if your capacity to allow, receive, and accept that whatever it is isn't there, then you're just going to keep crashing and burning and crashing and burning. And when you don't get what you want, guess what starts filling up your capacity? Disappointment, anger, sadness, frustration, right? And it starts filling up a lot of that capacity. So what I say instead is, said, put down on your vision board what you want, but then put that vision board to the side and say, how big does my capacity really need? And look at it like this. Okay, let's just look at $1 million, because that's the number one thing you get asked about all the time. How can I make $1 million? I say, okay, look at it like this. Every dollar is a love note. And if someone walked up to you right now and handed you a deal out of nowhere for $1 million, could you allow, receive, and accept it right this second?
I'm going to answer that question because where were we? We were traveling somewhere. I want to say Vegas, anyway, somewhere. And someone did walk up to us and asked us if they could hand us a $1 million bill. Well, I said instantly no, because number one, there's no such thing as $1 million bill. So I knew it was some kind of something, but I mean, without even batting an eye, the first words out of my mouth were no, thank you.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
I had just finished reading your book, and as I walked away, I was like, okay, what if
That was the
that
divine
was?
testing you. The divine was having you go through a love capacity, I call it muscle test, right? The idea about all this is, yes, the idea is that I tell people all the time, I said, if someone walked up to you, or let's just say in your mailbox, you got 1 million love notes today, 1 million love notes, right? Initially, depending on where our muscle strength is around the capacity, we'd be like, why are so many people sending me love notes? Like, what do they want? What do they want from me? What's going on? Oh my God, this is so much. Like, how am I going to open all these? And what I'm saying is when you start looking at what your dreams and desires in love notes, let's say, right? You can start identifying where your capacity is today. So I say to people, I said, if someone walked up to you and handed you, said, I want to hire you for $10,000 today, what would you say? And a lot of people are like, yes, that's where their capacity is. Now go for 30, now go for 50, now go for 500,000. Oh, whoa, 500,000. What are they going to want from me? And I'm saying, and that's the difference. In Hollywood, it was not unusual for someone, one person, to receive $1 million check, right? Or my bosses would be like, okay, we're going to go and go get the $100 million we need for our next movie and come back with it. And at the time, that was mind blowing for me. I'm like, who accepts $100 million check? Well, my bosses, right? But that's where their capacity was, that they were able to accept that. I'm even today, if someone wanted to hand me $100 million check, I would be want to shrink. What are they going to want? Oh, that's a lot of responsibility. What am I going to do with all that? Because my capacity is not there, Melanie. It's not. It's not there yet. It's not. And so being real about it and looking at this in terms of love, right? Because it doesn't take a special talent to grow your capacity. It just takes your, it takes a discipline of wanting to and then doing it by integrating inner game tools that are going to get that muscle really strong.
Well, it is a little refreshing to hear that you still struggle because you're the guru.
Oh, if someone handed me $100 million check today, I would want to crawl into a dark corner somewhere, right? Because I'm human and my muscle's not there, right?
So how do you overcome that?
You just keep working on the capacity, your muscle gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And I tell people, I'm saying, when this was downloaded to me, that I was supposed to bring this message, I was like, no. You were talking about a girl who loves Chanel. You were talking about a girl who has nothing to do with a power child, flower child, all that stuff. That's not me. That's not who I am, right? And it was just like, so I didn't believe it. So basically, I was like, okay, I will test this for 1 year on myself. And if this beta test works, then I promise you I will write the book. I will come out with the book. So for 1 year, every day, I put my love capacity daily habit system into play every single morning, 7 days a week, right? And in 1 year, my entire personal and professional life changed in the best of ways. My income tripled, right? And this is during COVID. Okay. My income tripled. I met now my husband and we got engaged that year, right? Didn't know him before, met him, dated him, got engaged. Okay. I've been wanting my own. I wanted a studio built out for myself. I have a studio that was built out for myself, right? And I didn't pay for it, just FYI, right? I wanted a new car. I was gifted a new car. I'm telling you, like my everything went, but things that I forgot about, like were falling into my capacity, right? Because when I was dreaming and wishing for it, my capacity couldn't hold it. But as the capacity gets bigger, things I forgot about that I want to dropped in, right? And I know that sounds silly, but it's not. It's a way where the divine is saying, see, this is the teachings. This is what we want people to know, right? And the most extraordinary things since have happened. Just extraordinary. Like always wanted to go to Nashville. Not only did I go to Nashville, I saw one of my favorite concerts there in Nashville. And that was a game changer for me, right? And now I want to move to Nashville. You know, I mean, so there's extraordinary things, but I have to work on it every day. not only to keep growing the muscle, but to keep the muscle strong.
So this isn't like so many of other plans that we see where you do it for, this is our 30-day plan, and then once you're done with it, this is a lifetime thing basically. So it's not a program, it's a lifestyle. Would you say
It's
yes?
it's a lifestyle. It's one I'm never going to walk away from because I'm getting what I want. And I'm not, and that's not shallow. I'm not a shallow person. I'm a very deep person. Like if you read my two books, or if you read my blogs, or if you follow me online, you'll see I'm a very deep person. I'm a very deep thinker, right? So I'm not being shallow when I say that. What I am trying to say is everyone is born with an it factor. Everyone is born to be their own superstar of their own life, to stand in their spotlight, right? And there's nothing shallow about that. This takes it takes a deep inner game, a discipline, and it takes a will and a want to do it, right? But as you start getting what you want, I'm going to bet cash that you're not going to walk away from it because it's exciting to get what you want, right? It's exciting.
Hey, I can't argue with that. Okay. It definitely is. And I believe that we all deserve to have the best life possible. So yeah, I'm kind of right there
Yeah.
with you on that one. So if there's I've been reading your plan, and I've actually started putting it into practice. And I'm already seeing some changes, so that's pretty cool. Um, what would you say if out of all of it, if because there are those people that are gonna look at it and go, I can't do this whole thing. What would
Yeah.
be like the number one thing that they need to focus on if they want to unlock their inner superstar?
Yeah, so the daily habit system in the book. Because those prayers, I call them prayers, but it's my book's not religious. Okay, I would say I say you can have any thought around this that you want. Okay, but they were every word that I want you to repeat is actually strategically built into each individual prayer. Okay, I call it a prayer. You can call it an intention. You could call it reading copy. I don't care, right? But it's all done very intentionally. None of this is accidental. So every word that I'm having you repeat to yourself is actually strengthening your love capacity. I also have exercises in there. One of them, which is my favorite, and I look forward to it every day, is I have you imagine, visualize yourself. So let's all do it together. Visualize yourself walking into the biggest stadium you've ever been to in your life, and you're on stage, and everyone there is cheering for you. They're cheering for you, right? And I want you to take in and see, even at the very, very top of the stadium, the is full, and they're all cheering your name, and they're doing the wave, and they're clapping and they're screaming for you. Now, while you're on stage, share with them one of your intentions. Share with them, and then allow them to support and swell that intention for you and with you, right? And scream for you for that intention to come true. Now that you've done that, right? Now do that, and you can take it next level. Go on YouTube and grab a cheering crowd audio and put in your earbuds and do that. And do this for 5 minutes every single morning. What I've realized is that there'll be times when I'll start getting scared or fearful or something, and all of a sudden I can hear the stadium cheering for me because it's part of my unconscious now, because I do it every single day, 7 days a week, right? But the reason that this visualization is so important is because how often do we not put ourselves in on stage in the middle and allow others to cheer for us? We, particularly as women, are cheering for others all the time, but not vice versa. And that is how you're going to strengthen your love capacity muscle. Mhm. Yes.
Okay, so how do we how do we build that support group of women? Because I think that's a big problem. I'm going to say it's a big issue that I've seen. Women's supporting other women? How do we find that little, is it all inner work, or do we need to find that crowd that will cheer us on, that support network?
Yeah, I agree with you. Society brings up women on purpose. This is just my 2 cents, to keep us small. So they pit us against each other, right? Who's prettier, who's thinner, who's very young. It's in media, it's in our culture, right? And we can break free of those bonds because that's just keeping us from getting what we want, right? And finding other women who are integrity based and who are like-minded, right? That, that's very important to me. And so I make it a point to emotionally connect with people like yourself, sister, who are clearly who that's important for, right? And then creating bonds that way. But I'm telling you, we're opening doors for other women to do the same. We're opening doors to show that, first of all, we're not built like men. We don't think like men. We're biologically not built like men. And there's a reason for that. And so trying to fit into a male dominated, particularly business world, doesn't work in the long run. I was in Hollywood, which is dominated by men. And a lot of times I was the only woman in the room at the table, right? And so you start getting signals, right? These signals, and those signals, they weren't good. They weren't healthy for me, for the way I'm built. And so this is why with my media network, for instance, it's by women for women. And the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want us to have to pull up a chair. I want us to own the table, right? And I want us to communicate and support and teach one another through our expertise, right? Of how women buy and sell, how women market and communicate, how women in business, right? And create our own culture. And I'm not bashing men. I'm not. I love men. I'm married to a man. Okay. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying we think different, we communicate different, we buy different, we maneuver differently. And so it's healthier for us to maneuver, which is in our flow and naturally the way that it's right for us.
Okay. But yeah, so, but is your love capacity system, is that something, if, I mean, I'm lucky, I have that network. I have your network, and then I've created the Rebel Tribe and Smart and Sassy Businesswomen, which are my two big support groups. So I have that network. But if you don't, is your love capacity system, is this something you can do on your own without that support until you find it?
Yeah, because that's another thing too. Listen, when you start moving all the junk out of your capacity, the disappointment and anger and all the frustration that's taking up capacity, of course your world is brighter. Of course your signal shifts. So you start signaling in, you know the saying, we are, your vibration shifts, right? It gets higher, right? It soars higher and higher. So people at the same vibration come together. I mean, that's just the law, you know. That's the law, right? The self-development law, right? And so yeah, absolutely it will happen. It will happen. And what also starts shifting is people that aren't in your vibrational alignment, they start shifting out, right? You can't take it personally. Don't take it personally. There is this code, this good girl code, where people aren't, they're not being mean about it. They just don't want you to get hurt, or they don't want to see you get hurt, right? And so they try to, you hear this all the time, try to hold onto you tighter. And what I'm saying is, as your capacity gets bigger and bigger and bigger, right? That won't work for you anymore. It won't be in alignment for you anymore, right? And people of like-minded, the same vibrations want to run together. That's just the way it works, right?
So there you go. So even if you don't have that network, don't let that hold you
It
back.
will.
Start working on this on your own and you will attract those people. And like I said, I can vouch for that because I don't even remember how we met, but one day there you were. Okay. So
Well, I read your
it's
book. I
like,
saw you online and I read your book and I love your book. It changed my entire perspective on network marketing. And so I want to thank you for that. We never met. I saw your book. I felt called to buy it. I read it in one sitting. And then I reached out to you and I was like, oh my God, I love your book. I love you. I love your perspective. You really helped me to have a brand new perspective on network marketing. And because of that perspective, I was actually talking to a top network marketer this morning, a woman, and I told her, I said, oh, I love your industry. I like how this all works. I go, I read this book and it like changed my whole perspective. And you see, we do impact each other. We do. And so when people are like, oh, no one's going to read my stuff or does it really matter? I'm like, it does. It matters. So do it. It does. We all have an impact on each other. It's really quite remarkable.
yep, I have a friend that's his big saying that you have an impact, whether you want to or not, you have an impact. So you might as well start
It's so
deciding on what
true.
kind of impact you want to have.
It's so
Because
true.
so this has been awesome because I know there's a lot of people out there that are going to they're going to read the title of the book and go, this is all woo woo.
Yeah, no, it's not.
And it's not.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to change it instead of, we need to think of it as a superpower instead of, I don't know, it's a superpower. It's a superpower. It's not woo woo. It's a superpower. We're going to give
It's
Joey a
actually,
superhero name.
it really is actually the secret sauce that people that like myself have been looking for a long time. It's just been, I'm just presenting it in a different way that's more in line with me and the way that I am, right? Because I knew there would be people out there who are just like, I don't want the woo-woo thing. And I'm like, good, because my book's very bottom liner, right? I like bottom line, I like formulas, I like systems, right? And so I did that on purpose. And I want to be the poster child for this, where people are like, oh, so I can be like this and still know that love has my love capacity, and love is Benjamin's and it's homes and it's vacations and it's business opportunities. I'm like, yeah, because that's what it is. And and I think, sister, that's why they chose me. Because they chose a lot of other types too, and they have an audience. But I think they chose me because I think there's an audience like ourselves that needed to hear it differently.
Yes, we measure love differently.
We love Benjamins, and that's a good thing. They want us to love Benjamins.
Hey, I hate to tell you, folks, but those of you that say you don't, that money can't buy happiness, it's probably true. It can't buy happiness. I'm just going to say that it's a lot easier to be happy when you have money than it is when you don't.
Yeah,
But
when
more
you're in line.
importantly, you can do more with it, and that makes me happy. The fact that I
Yeah,
can do things with it. I mean, I just had, I was just able to help out a family member last night who needed
yeah.
something, and then it was nothing for me to be able to sit down and go, okay, here's what you need. I can do this for you, and it felt good because, you know, that's how I show him that I love him, and it felt good to me to be able to do that. It made me feel good, so it's
And you
important.
can, and you can, and all of our dreams and hopes are so important because they're filling in other puzzle pieces for other people and vice versa. So I always say to people, it's selfish not to go after your dreams. I said, because your dream is going to impact someone's in ways that you probably will never know, but it's tipping points for others. It's tipping points for others.
So for those that are looking at the book and are just like, I don't care what you say. I can just look at the title and tell you it's way too woo woo for me. I'm not going to pick it up. I'm not going to read it. But we've intrigued them. Okay, we've intrigued them. What's that one big piece of advice that you would give them right now? Besides read the book. Read the book.
No, but that's the reason I put myself on the cover, is because I wanted other people to know this is for me to put myself on the cover took all of me, all of me. But I did it because I wanted other people to open doors for others to do the same. I'd say that the one thing I want to say to people is not getting what you want sucks. I'm being authentic. When I wasn't getting what I wanted, it sucked. I wasn't nearly had nearly as much joy and happiness in my life. I didn't. I was disappointed a lot, right? And disappointment isn't a good look. It's not a good look, right? And so I say to people, I say, why not just give it a spin? Just try it. Try it. Just try it for 7 days. Okay. You're really supposed to try it for 21 because we all know in the self-development world that, but I'm just asking it for 7 days and pay attention to what happens in just 7 days. Just 7 days. That's it. And then get back to me.
Okay, I'm going to give you guys a little personal anecdote here because she's got a bunch of inner book, and I'm not going to have her tell them to you because I want you to read the book. So I'm going to use my own just to, and I'm going to use this podcast as a shining example because way back in it was pandemic era, I think I still and I signed all the paperwork and took this big long coaching program on how to start a podcast and was like, yeah, I can't do this. And then I read all the books and I read all the stuff and I got online and I talked to more coaches and, you know, did all the YouTube videos on how to start a podcast and had pretty much decided it was never going to happen. And even Joey had sent me some things like, here you go, this is what you need to start a podcast. And it just wasn't working. It wasn't clicking. And then I read the book and I was like, okay, I can do this. I want this podcast. I'm naturally chatty anyway. It's a perfect fit for me. I can do this. And I just started going through the exercises. And then one night I sat down and was like, it was just boom, 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 boom. Launched the thing in one night. Okay. Because I was ready. Okay. I guess because I was ready. I don't know. So, but it all happened because of the book. And I firmly believe that. I don't think I would have done that to sit down and put it all together, record the first episode, get it up, get it on Spotify, get it on Amazon, get it on iTunes and do it all in one night. Thought my husband was going to go crazy because it was like, I'm not going to bed till I am like one click away. I'm one click away. I'm not stopping till I'm done. But but it worked. Okay. It worked. And I honestly do believe that it would not have happened, except that at that point in time, after doing the work, I was ready. I was ready to launch this thing. And it had nothing to do with technical skills because my technical skills still suck. But I was ready. It didn't matter at that point whether or not the technical know-how was there. Somehow it just all came together, I guess, because I was able to accept the fact that I can do this. So
Yeah,
read the
and
book.
also too, the acceptance of the love on the other side of this, right? Because on the other side of our dreams, we know how much love comes along with this, right? You were ready to accept all the love on the other side of this podcast. Oh, people are going to come on my show because they love me. That's just love, right? Oh, I'm going to get antidotes. That's love, right? I'm going to be I'm going to be able to share my stories. My voice is going to be heard. That's love, right? And so your muscle was ready to accept all the love that comes along with the podcast, and that's why everything was in flow. And
So
bravo,
so yes. So
bravo.
I'm just telling you, read
And
the book.
I'm and today I'm here on your show.
I know. That's awesome. And I have to admit, there's people coming on like from the very beginning. Because at first I was like, okay, no one's going to come. It's just getting started. Nobody of any note's going to come on. And that's entirely untrue. I've had you, I've had Claudine, I have, I have people that people know. Okay? People you've actually heard of are coming on my show. So it's pretty cool. So yes, do not be afraid. Read the book, do what it says,
Absolutely, because what
and
are
then
you?
just step out there and do your thing. It's awesome. Well, I thank you. This has been awesome. Let's do a little plug for your book because that was the whole reason you were on, is that I love your book and
Well,
wanted to share it with everybody.
thank you. Yeah, so Being Your Own Superstar, How to Expand Your Love Capacity. It doubles as a guidebook. It has a daily habit system in it. And you can find this on Amazon. And then you can find me and you can reach out and try it for 7 days and then reach out. I'd love to hear what kind of results you get.
And I will put links to the book in the description. And also she has a wonderful Facebook group that I'm part of that I absolutely love. So I will link to that as well because it's a great place to hang out and meet other. It's for the ladies. So if there's any gentlemen listening to this podcast for the ladies, you're still welcome to come and try it out. But do you have any guys in the group? I have a group that's for women and I have one guy. So
I don't, no, yes, it's called Superstar Women Entrepreneurs. And so guys don't even ask to be in the group. Yeah, and I have it. It's a really robust group. And again, the reason I called it that is because it's opening doors for women to say, I am a superstar. It is my birthright to say that I'm a superstar. And I'm like, yes, just just being born is literally your birthright that you are a superstar. Literally your birthright.
well, thank you so much for coming on today. I appreciate it so much, and I look forward to when's our next group meeting? We have a
Uh,
group meeting coming up tomorrow, isn't it?
no, no, no. It's
No, no,
every
tomorrow,
other. Yeah,
every
no, no.
Thursday.
We're still in March and April.
Okay, I've lost track. Hey, Easter
Love
snuck up
you.
on me. The kids just it's Easter, Grandma. I was like,
All right.
oh my gosh, it is. You're right. Crap. So
I
thank you so
love it.
much for joining us. And
Yes, yes.
again, the book is Being Your Own Superstar, How to Expand Your Love Capacity, available on Amazon. Look for the link in the description. And Joey, thank you so much. And I will talk to you again soon.
Thank you.